Oli Oli, it's me, Gauri. So, this week of taking the Minecraft course, I decided that I wanted to more so integrate what I've been learning so far because it is kind of a lot of information. And I was like, you know what, let me slow down and make sure that I'm actually integrating everything. Like making sure that my brain is absorbing everything in a way that's practical and that I will see real changes going forward. So I decided to focus on that journaling and shadow work versus taking the modules. There's this cat over here on the roof. Anyways, I did a lot of journaling, a lot. And I really unpacked some things came up that I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, for example, I was doing rewiring my brain, like in terms of my money mindset. So there was a live call that hosted that was called the Money Magic Pill, and I took notes on that, and I was like, okay, let me do this step by step. Basically, first it was identify what the feeling state of having more money would be for you. Basically, it's all about the feelings. Like, we don't want the things that we want. Like, we want the emotions, we want the feelings that we think those things will bring us. This is something that M always says, and also something that neuro knowledge says. So I think it's very important in like the manifestation realm or like practice. So yeah, basically tapping into your emotions, because also if you think about it, like from the perspective of God or the universe, like the universe doesn't care about numbers in your bank account or like, like the universe cares about, God cares about how is it going to make you feel that you have like that, because the universe, by you getting the things that you want, the universe is also expanding. Like, that's something that also Abraham Hicks talks about a lot, that the experience, our lived experience, our individual lived experience is already more than enough for source, basically. Like, source expands by us figuring out, like going through our lives basically and figuring out what we do want, what we don't want. That's all like information for source. So anyway, so with the money rewiring that I was doing, I was like, okay, what's the feeling state of having more money? Like, what would that feel like for me? And I'm just gonna mention the one that was like new to me. I was like, and that day I had set the intention of like listening to my heart. um like in the morning I had set the intention of like, today I choose to listen to my heart. And when I was journaling and coming up with this question, like, what does it feel like to have more money? And I felt my throat kind of activate. And I was like, interesting, like throat chakra, what is going on here? Like, that's, and so I started writing more. And I wrote down the idea that you're taken more seriously when you have money. And so I translated that to feeling heard, basically. And then I was like, dang. And then I was connecting this to like how in my childhood I felt that, I guess like because of the parenting style that my mom had, I didn't feel comfortable speaking up. Like, I was always quiet as a kid. And yeah, I just felt like it wasn't always safe to speak up, basically. And then I'm like, okay, but that was a story about when I was a child. Like, come on now. I'm an adult now. Like, so what have I, like, I could say, when I was a child, um that wasn't really like in my control as much. But now, like, since then, what have I done to make myself feel safe to speak up and things like that? And So then I started journaling about that. So yeah, I basically asked, like, okay, heart, what can I do to make you feel safe to speak up and like to feel, because I feel like some part of it is like feeling heard. I feel like part of it is more so the confidence of speaking up, you know, more so. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I don't really care that much about what people think about what I say, you know, but it's like more so about the feeling of safety. Like, it's okay for me to share my opinions. It's okay. Like, it's safe. Not okay. Like, it's safe, basically. Um, yeah, because of that wiring from childhood. But then I'm like, okay, so now what are we doing about it? So yeah, and then I started journaling and I came up with a few things. And one of the things was, like, for example, continue filming yourself talking about your experience, or like just anything on your YouTube channel, post it, because then it's reinforcing to my brain that it's safe for me to share my opinions, like for my voice to be heard publicly, you know, like potentially reaching thousands of people. So basically reinforcing that it's safe and that my words and ideas are valuable, to share. And it also went so well with a quote or like passage from this book that I read every morning. It's called Ancestors Said. So basically, it's 365 pages of like, so like every day there's a message from your elevated ancestors. Um, and so the message, I don't know if it was that day or the day before, the message was, the line that I remember was, there is a wisdom that only your spirit can tap into. And so that also was encouraging for me to be journaling about this shadow, and then for that message to have come up very recently. So I kind of pieced the two together and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do like more EFT tapping on this. Yeah, on this affirmation. But yeah. So yeah, I would say that was the money rewiring journaling shadow work session that I had. It was like over a couple of days. I didn't do like, because I did like an hour or so, like out 1 hour to 2 hours for 2 days. But I still have more to do, honestly. It's just because of the holidays and stuff. I haven't been able to do it like as often as I would like. But TB, to be continued. To be continued. And the next thing I wanted to share is about neuroplasticity, which I learned. And it's basically the brain's ability to adapt and rewire itself. And I thought it was so interesting that M said, that neural pathways cannot be killed, they can only be replaced. So I think that's why it just makes sense why everyone talks about like shadow work, doing shadow work and things like that, because you really have to dive deep into, become basically self-aware, dive deep into what your beliefs are, like why you believe it and whether that belief is serving you or not for like the, like for the life that you want to manifest, or the life that you envision for yourself, basically. So yeah, basically every time that you think a thought over and over, the neural pathway is being strengthened. So you can weaken and strengthen certain neural pathways. And so talks about, in the modules, she talks about three main ways that you can rewire your brain or like your neural pathways, and one of them is associative learning. So associative learning is kind of like what it sounds like, that your brain can find ideas and experiences and link them together. And the example that she gave was of this, so there was an experiment called Pavlov's dog. And so this guy Pavlov, he noticed that whenever he fed his dog, he would start salivating. The dog would start salivating. And so then he was like, okay, let me do a little experiment. And he started ringing a bell at feeding time, basically. And then over time, um, like he would ring the bell without even feeding the dog, and the dog would start salivating. And so that's basically the dog's brain had learned to associate the bell ringing with being fed, and that's why he had the same bodily reaction basically. So yeah, this was a really cool experiment that for me I was like, okay, and I started to apply it to something else that I like that talks about is habit stacking. So like, because sometimes it can, when you're first starting to change your habits, your brain might, take a little work or something. But at the same time, you can just decide that it's easy. So, but anyways, basically, what I started doing is at 8:30, my alarm rings for me to take my medication. And so I was like, ooh, I'm going to take that opportunity to habit stack. And so what I started doing is my alarm goes off, and then I take some deep breaths, like what are they called? No, I take some physiological sighs, which is like making the exhale longer. And so I do a few of those, and then I read my awe card, which is something that I learned from the course as well. So it was a class with Carla. I forgot her last name, but she's one of the coaches basically in the program. So the live call that she hosted was about awe, like AWE, that like how awe can help you to rewire your brain, because it basically, oh my gosh, these birds. That was so beautiful. See, exactly. So like awe, basically that feeling awe, it helps with the same thing with neuroplasticity, because when you feel awe, it it helps to quiet the default mode network. So it basically quiets the rumination or anxious thoughts that you might have like running in the background that are not serving you. It quiets those, and then it also allows for cognitive flexibility, because your brain becomes hyper focused on what it's seeing, like what is causing this awe, and basically it's kind of forcing it to expand, like it's focusing on vastness. And so through that workshop, that class that she taught, she had us come up with like an old belief or something that was kind of like, on your mind, like a little bit stressful or something. And then remember a time where you felt awe. Like, for example, mine was when I saw the ocean in Hawaii, and basically like the ocean's beauty and massiveness and expansion and my connection to her. And then so basically she was like, okay, like fully feel the emotions of that moment where you felt awe, and then look back at your old belief, right? And then kind of basically the activity helped me be like, oh wow, like it's so minimal, like the ocean is literally so massive. Like that little issue that I was worried about is, it's just so small, So I was like, okay, that's cool. And so basically she had us write a little awe card. And so that's what I read. Oh, and then in the awe card, she also had us write like the new belief or new affirmation to kind of cut out the old belief. And so I have the little card. I have it saved in my camera roll. And so going back to the Pavlov's dog thing. So the habit stacking that I do now is at 8:30 p.m. my alarm goes off. I do my physiological size, I take my medication, I read my all card, and then I check my bank account, because that's also one of the things that I learned from doing shadow work and stuff. And MAI like clearly labeled what it is. Like, it's something about, I don't remember the exact words, but you know how it's like fight or flight or fawn or something like that? I don't remember what the exact words that MAI used, but it was basically like that I avoid, like basically avoidance of looking at my bank account. And so MAI was saying like it's good to do a daily practice of checking your bank account, because then your brain learns that it's it's not it's like numbers are not a threat, basically. So yeah, so I basically habit stacked all of those, and it's so quick, like I could do it in less than 5 minutes. um so yeah, that was cool. That is a cool integration that I have done. Another way that talks about that you can rewire your neural pathways is by identity shifting and labeling. Basically, what you label yourself as, because your default mode network is always is always searching for things to confirm your current identity, either your current identity or the new one. So for the identity and labels, she talks about like you have the power to set the intention, or like tell your brain, this is my label and this is how we're going to act. And so based on the activity that you're doing, and then over time your brain will be like, okay, like it'll just automatically go into that mode that you're identifying as. And so I just wanted to say a little fun example of this that I feel like I've been doing for like at least a year now, is that I always call myself a winner. And so basically this past week I was spending time with family, with my cousins, and I played blackjack for the first time, and it was really fun. I was having fun learning the game and stuff. And I've been saying, even since like I think like a year ago, I started saying like I'm just a winner. It sounds better in Spanish. It sounds better in Spanish. I'm like, soy ganadora, soy ganadora. Yo siempre gano, soy ganadora. Like, it's just my identity basically. And it literally works. Like, it literally works. I won, like, ever since I started saying that about myself, that I'm a winner, like that's my identity, that I am a winner and I always win. Ever since I started saying that, like I do always win. Like, for example, even in small stuff, like in the Rosca de Reyes, like the on Three Kings Day, you eat this bread and it has like little plastic babies inside, like hidden inside. And I'm always like, it's me, like I'm a winner, so I'm gonna get all those babies. It's, if you don't know the tradition, it sounds kind of random, but it's a really nice tradition. But anyways, and yeah, I won like every single time that I would cut my piece. You're supposed to cut your own piece, cuz I mean, previously it had like a negative connotation that you got the baby, cuz it meant that you had to cook tamales for everybody in like the next, like in February, like the next holiday type of thing. But nowadays people are flipping it. They're like, no, you're blessed to be receiving to get the baby, because it's representing baby Jesus basically. But anyways, it sounds so random if you don't know the tradition, but yeah. um but so I always won the baby. I always won the baby when I cut my piece of bread. And so and then what else? We did like a competition between cousins like a TikTok dance, and even though I felt like mine was not the best, I still won. So I'm like, because I'm a winner, like that's my identity, so that's what happens. So anyway, this year when I was playing blackjack with my cousins, I literally I kept saying it the whole time. Like, even when I lost, I would still say, pero yo siempre gano. Like, but I always win. And it was, I said it all the time to the point where even my cousins would be like, pero siempre ganas. Like, but you always win. So, like, they would go along with it too. And, we were playing so much. Like, I did win a lot. And then we played the final rounds. It was getting so late, and we were like, you know what, let's just play some final rounds. Let's play like, 3 more rounds. Tell me why I won, and then I think I didn't win in the first one, and then the second one, four of us tied, and so we had to do the tiebreaker. And so I moved on to the tiebreaker, and then we did another round. Oh, no, no, no. And we did the tiebreaker, winner gets all. Winner, like, wins all. And so I won. And then we did the final round, and I tied again with my other cousin. And it was so suspenseful. And I was like, my cousin was like, let's see if you're, like, good at the psychology game. And I'm like, doesn't matter, I always win. And then I won. So it's funny to me, like, it's kind of a random, I guess it's just like a playful example, but it's really true. And honestly too, like, when I'm like, oh, when I play the lottery, I always win. And I won, ever since I started saying that, I won $20 one time, like off a scratch off thing. So jackpot, you're next. But yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's about, you know, like, telling your brain what your identity is really works. And something that I would like to connect about, specifically about winning, to something that neuro knowledge says, is to take everything as a win. Because if you train your brain basically for success, for seeing anything as success, like anything is in your favor, then that's literally what you're gonna keep manifesting. And that makes sense with the science too that I'm learning, because your reticular activating system will filter to basically prove you right, like prove that identity right, prove that your things are always working out in your favor, that you always win, things like that. So yeah, that was real fun. Oh, and one more thing that I would like to say. This podcast called Inspired Delusions is really pairing so well with this course, because it keeps my brain, like, searching for expansion, like searching for not searching, but like being receptive to, like, delusional thinking, but it's basically just being so open to the infinite blessings and opportunities and magic that the universe and that God has, like, that we have available to us, because I was thinking too, like, the universe is so big. It's so big that, like, I just think of galaxies, how there's, like, so many galaxies. When I see videos or, like, pictures of space, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much out there that we don't even know. And, like, if God can create all of that, like, my manifestation is easy. Like, that's so easy to be achieved. You know what I mean? Like, sources, like, yeah, here you go. Like, it's not like it's nothing, but you know what I mean? Like, compared to, like, all the galaxies that creator creates, you know? So, yeah, I highly recommend this podcast, Inspired Delusions. I think it's pairing so well for me to have like the science and also the Lulu side of things, and like to keep me open to just that the fact that anything is possible, basically. So, yeah. I think that's all I have. That's all I wanted to share for today. Bye for now. And stay true, stay blessed.